why Putin created the Third World War. Putin is the guy who thinks that he can control reality. He has succeeded. Oh my God, what have I done? I'm completely failed. The war has been now going on for more than 100 days. What comes after Putin? Hi, here is Markku Wilenius, the traveling futurist. Why Putin created the Third World War? You see, ever since the Second World War, there has not been such a dramatic destruction that has gone through the Europe and created a very different atmosphere in the whole world. Putin is the guy who thinks that he can control reality. And for the last 20 years, the reality has proved that he has indeed done so very well. So everything that he has pursued, basically, he has succeeded. That's why he has the idea that he can do anything and he's always successful. That's why he invaded the Ukraine. But this time, the reality failed, or he failed the reality, because the world became very uncontrollable for him for the first time in his history as the leader of the Russia. So let's put this war that Putin started into the context. The war has been now going on for more than 100 days. And it has become clear to almost all who follow this war that this is something that Putin cannot win. Where does this lead us? It leads us to the questioning that what comes after Putin? And this is something we're gonna now investigate. Putin has essentially built a very authoritarian state with a kleptocratic principles, meaning that everybody steals from anybody else. So what is the solution? The solution will not be Putin one morning wakes up and thinks, oh my God, what have I done? I'm completely failed. Or that I have done something wrong. That won't happen. He will never accept his failures. The only solution is that he somehow loses his power to ring the Russian army. And this needs to happen from inside, not from outside, from the inside. And we can already see that there are a lot of signals there that says that, well, there is an army which is highly demoralized, the equipments are old, there is a general feeling that they are meeting an enemy that they cannot win. What will happen is that at one point, the system that has been built will collapse, which is essentially that the Russian force will retreat and will not actually go to what the original plan was, which is to invade the whole of Ukraine. Instead, they will retreat. But Putin is not going to make that decision. There needs to be someone else who sees clearly enough that this is not the war that they can win. I believe that it is a question of the weeks rather than the month when this will happen. Why I think so? The people, also in Russia, those people that are active and see the world and get the information from outside Russia, understand that this is leading to anywhere else than to complete destruction of Russian economy. For those people, it does matter when this war ends, because if it goes on and lingers on, the whole their fortunes will be wiped away as we move forward. So think about this. There is one side which is that Putin wants to control the world the way he has learned to do in the last 20 years. On the other side, there is a reality which is very much detached from what he sees. So he has built his own images and he wants to work with those images that are completely out of the touch of what is actually reality. And we need to understand this, and we need to actually see that this moment when he is forced to see the actual reality is very, very near. The real solution will come from the Russian people themselves when they understand that they are responsible for promoting the type of the government that serve their interest, their true interest. And until that happens, this current situation will linger on. But even if this sounds far-fetched, that there could be a real democracy in Russia, I still believe very strongly that that is what is going to happen, because that's the only solution for the Russians. And Russian people are well educated. They understand how the world works, even if Putin tries to hide some of that information. The future is for the Russia and for the people of Russia to build a kind of regime and the government that ultimately serve their very interest. And believe me or not, this rude invasion to Ukraine will speed up this process when we finally get a democratic state of Russia. So my point here is clear and simple. Putin got lost the touch with the reality. And with that, he was able to do something that nobody was expecting him to do, because those ones that were assessing whether he will invade or not were mostly people who didn't understand his internal logic. He was lost in his own reality with the dramatic consequences that we have felt worldwide. The question is, again, what happens after? Who is going to be the better person to serve the interest of Russian people? Is it going to be the current Prime Minister, Mutistin, who is looking more like a caretaker rather more than Putin, but who has not shown any initiative to build any more democratic country? Or is this going to be oligarch Oleg Kovalchuk, the guy who is probably the closest ally to Putin right now, with whom he spent most of the pandemic times together, who is even more nationalistic and extreme in his view than Putin himself? If he comes to the power, we're not going to see any democratization of the Russia. Then there is a third option. There is Alexander Navalny, who, as we all know, is currently in the prison. But think about how many people that have then come to the power in the new democratic countries have been imprisoned because of their views of the current power keepers. This is the story of the history, so maybe it is Alexander Navalny that will have a power after the Putin's regime is gone. We don't know. But there are these and other options. The fact, what I want to stress here is that Putin lost his sense of reality, and everything follows from that fact. My personal resume of this topic is this. I, as a Finn, I understand that we have a very close relationship with Russia over the centuries, and we have a very long border. So there has been a lot of interaction between the Russian and Finland, and indeed, once we were a part of the Russia. The point is that when I'm thinking about the future of Russia as a Finnish person, I'm thinking about a strong and democratic Russia that has a huge capacities to build something positive to the world, who has natural resources unlike anything else, well-educated people, and a lot of capacity to act for the good. At this point of time seems a bit being far away, because we think that the Russia is the aggressor of the world. But this is not talking about Russian people themselves, it's about the regime, and we should differentiate those two things. So personally, I think that this is the hard times not only for the world and for the Ukrainian people, this is also very hard times for the Russia. I only hope that we will, and particularly Russians, will learn from this, not to give away the power to the persons like a Putin, who only cares about himself. And we all know by now that with Putin, Russia has no future. Please subscribe my channel, and I would love to hear your comments. What do you think? What will happen with the fate of Russia? What do you think that will come after Putin? I'm really interested to hear your opinions. And please look my other related videos on the topic, and see you soon in my channel.